Micheal Gillmore. I'm fighting out of Murcielago MMA, Lansing, Michigan, and I'm 34 years old.
Appreciate you joining us. I guess obviously you're kind of limited in what you can say, and we'll see it all unfold on the show. But just talk to us about, the emotion, I guess, of being here right now when it didn't look like you were going to be.
It's almost like it hasn't fully set in yet. It's been a blur. I don't even know what day I've got the call 2-3 days ago that an alternate was needed, and then I had to start my weight cut, do a COVID test, and then come in the house right away. So it was not a lot of time to even process it, and just now rehydrating after weighing in is, I think now I'll get a chance to process it a little bit when I get back to the house a little bit, let it soak in, and then be ready to fight.
What is the process of being an alternate? Like, so you knew ahead of the show, like you maybe we'll call you, maybe we won't. What do you do? I mean, do you train? Do you go back to normal life and just put it out of your mind? What do you do?
Well, they brought me here and I quarantined just like everybody else. I didn't know I was an alternate until right before the names were announced on the UFC fight card. The producer came in and let me know, so I didn't see it on the TV, of course, but I didn't know until then. And they said it's the outside looking in, and usually they fly the alternates back to where they're from, and if they're needed, they'll give them a call. I have family here in Las Vegas, fortunately, so I was able to just stay myself here. And if someone was needed, I thought being here gave me the best shot to be the one picked.
I was going to say, so that was a conscious decision on your part, be like, hey, let's play my cards right. I'll be the first one they call.
Yeah, well, I went all in already coming here, so it was an easy decision to stay another couple weeks.
You say you went all in. You quit your job? Is that what I heard?
Yep. I had to quit my job. I wasn't afforded a leave of absence. It was a policy that they had that they weren't willing to budge on. So I had to quit. It was a salary job, insurance, benefits, company car, all that. Had to turn it in right before I came out.
That's incredible. Is it? Difficult decision to make? I mean, that is really literally going all in on chasing your dream, right?
Yeah. It was. At first it was easy, and then when it was real, it was difficult. So at first it's easy. It's like playing here in Vegas. It's really easy to push the money in, and then once it's in, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I'm real happy that I did, and it worked out.
So I guess sitting here right now, it paid off. But you go all in, and you're an alternate. Is that like crushing to you, or are you an optimistic kind of guy?
No, I was trying to figure out what to do next. It was. It's the business, right? So I wasn't offended or bothered. I came here knowing that was a possibility, and I honestly didn't think that I would be. And then, so when it did happen, it was a little bit crushing. But thankfully, I've got some pretty good support at home, and it worked out.
That's awesome. Were you a fan of The Ultimate Fighter before? I mean, did you watch the previous seasons?
I've watched a handful of the seasons. Definitely a fan. I don't know anyone who hasn't or who has seen it who wouldn't become a fan of it. I haven't watched all of the episodes, but definitely some of the earlier ones. Rashad Evans, my coach, was his coach when he was on it. So when I joined the team was well after Rashad was gone. But knowing that, I went back and watched that season to a little bit motivation. And then there's been a couple of Michigan fighters on or seasons that I've watched and paid attention to those.
Yeah. So were you a wrestler growing up? Hailing from that part of the country?
I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona. I actually went to high school at Dominic Cruz, and I did wrestle for middle school through high school, but I didn't continue on to college. I chose football instead. I started that at 7, where the wrestlers start at 7. So it's easier to catch up in football than it is wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt. So when did you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to switch over to mixed martial arts and start doing this? And you had a pretty extensive amateur career as well.
Yeah, when football was done. So I finished up my senior year. It was cut short due to an injury. I was ranked in our conference. I was being looked at by NFL teams and Canadian teams, and I really thought I was going to be able to get back into the physical shape that I needed to play football. And during the recovery time, I saw my first MMA show live. It was a WEC in Columbus, Ohio, and Dominic Cruz was headlining. I didn't even know anything about fighting at that point, and Columbus was close enough to Michigan that I can drive, and I bought the tickets, saw that show live, and I was like, I think I can do this. And just seeing a buddy of mine, and we didn't keep in touch or anything like that while in school, I think Facebook was brand new, so it wasn't really easy to keep in touch with people like it is today. So when I saw a promo of him on TV, I was like, that's crazy. Let's go check what this is about.
That's amazing. So you get into it. When do you decide, hey, I'm going to chase after this as a professional career?
I had my amateur career was 11 fights, and I was scheduled to fight for my first title as an amateur, and I was not able to fight for any titles throughout my amateur career because all of my teammates had them. All of the local stuff, they all had them, so I was always just kind of fighting other guys and on the cards. And finally, the other guys were pro level, and there was an amateur belt available that I was going to fight for. And then my coach called me and said, a promoter, has a debut for you. What do you think? And so I jumped at that chance.
Take the paycheck over the amateur belt?
Yeah, the first ones aren't much though. That's not a good bet either.
Nice. Well, we look forward to watching the journey play out on TV. I guess is this all or nothing? I mean, if this doesn't work out, is this the end of the career, or do you feel like this is just you going all in, and whether it works out now or a little bit in the future, it's going to work out?
Oh no, I'm in for this for a while. So if this show doesn't work out, with me being the winner, I know that I'm going to go out there and put on a show, and I'm going to make some fans through the show. And I know that another opportunity is going to come because I'm going to work for it. So definitely not the end if this doesn't work out. I'm going to keep going and see how far I can ride it.
Just out of curiosity, could you describe your fighting style for people who may not have seen you?
It's kind of evolved a little bit into more of a striker. I started off a lot with ground and pound. I do still prefer that because it's harder to get punched when you're on top punching somebody. So I've learned at my gym a lot of higher level striking and started to love that a little bit more. So I tend to stick to the striking quite a bit.